posted.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Esports Masters League here on League Racing TV. My name is, of course, Michael Edwards, going to be taking you through the action here as we get ready to get set for the penultimate round of the EML Academy Tier Championship. And, of course, we are racing at the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix here for Emilia. And it's going to be an absolutely cracker of a race. And of course, I'm going to bring up the standings now just so you guys can see what is about to go on. So, it is ETA Academy that lead the way at the top. They have a 147-point lead going into tonight's race. And they have a maximum of 157 points still to fight for. So, as long as ETA can finish this race with over a 76-point lead, then ET8 win the championship. It is all uphill battles here for Neverlast Racing Development Team. Of course, NLR, yeah, it's an uphill battle for them. Of course, they have 2 wins to their name so far this season, 6 podiums. Of course, I mean, ET8 have double the podiums and 5 wins to their name, just showing the absolute dominance of ET8 so far this season. And of course, they could all be sealed up here tonight, and it does look likely that that will be the way that it'll go. So, I mean, it is technically mathematically possible for NLR to keep the championship alive, but extremely unlikely. So we're going to have to wait and see what will happen. Of course, 157 points is available in the remaining 2 races. And of course, if I get the calendar up for you guys right now, we will be able to see the remaining 2 races. Of course, tonight is the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Of course, it is Emilia tonight, and then next week we head to Sin City for Las Vegas. So we're just 2 rounds to go. 157 points still available. 147 points is the gap at the top. It is likely that it'll end here tonight, but never say never when it comes to EML and F1 in general. As right now we are having a few issues, obviously, with the lobby. Apparently, it's the game's not really agreeing with us as it currently stands and allowing us to enter a lobby, so we'll have to wait and see how that develops. But let's have a look at the driver lineup here for tonight. So, for IRC, they have Jet and, of course, Italian Snow in the Red Bull racing car. And, of course, Nick will be racing for IRT in the second Williams car. For ET8, they have Hario, Andreo, and obviously Lifeboat in the Williams. Course Hario and Andreo is going to be in the Mercedes, and of course Lifeboat in the Williams. We have got confirmation that, of course, Lifeboat will be joining mid-quali, so he might be a little bit late coming into the session, so he might not get enough laps on the board to be up there in qualifying, but we've seen what Lifeboat can do in the race itself. For Neverlast Racing, they have Spicer in the McLaren, and of course in the Aston Martins they have Sapala and of course Maki in the Aston Martins there for Neverlast Racing. For RCR Academy in the Scuderia Ferraris, they have Capitan and Sonny F1 in the Scuderias, and of course is B Shadow, who is going to be in the Alpha Tauri for RCR Academy. And of course the final team racing this evening is of course WR Academy. They have Thomas in the Alfa Romeo, and of course Fraser will be joining him in the Alfa Romeo, and of course Soapbox will be in the Haas F1 car. So there we go. There are the 15 drivers that are going to be racing here tonight. All 5 teams in full effect. I don't think we've had anyone drop out. But looking at the way the standings are looking, I mean, right now, obviously, ETA definitely are a team that's, well, they should go on to win here tonight. I mean, the championship should all be but wrapped up. It's just a formality, I think, and all they have to do is just make sure that they have a 76-point lead by the end of this race, because mathematically there's no way that NLR can get more wins than ET8, so they'd still win on countback, to my knowledge. But yeah, the battle for second in the championship, though, is the one that we're going to keep an eye on, because that is the big one. That is the big meaty, scrappy area. Because of course, there's only what, 21 points between NLR Development and of course WR Academy, and there is 16 points between WR Academy and of course ET8. And you might think, oh, that's a big gap. That's a big gap. But when you look at the point system here in EML Academy, it is not as big of a gap as you think. One good race here for WR or IRT could really close out that gap on Neverlast Racing. So There is the point system. It is 30 points for the race win, 25 points for P2, and of course 20 points for P3, meaning the maximum that a team can get is of course 76 points, including the bonus point for the fastest lap of the race. 17 points will come through for P4, with 15 points going the way of P5, 14 points going the way of P6, 13 for 7, and then it goes down in increments of 1 all the way down to P19, which would get a singular point. But of course, with only 15 drivers here, as long as you see the checkered flag, you are guaranteed 5 points minimum. As long as you get to the checkered flag, is our old saying from the absolute great Michael Schumacher. To finish first you must finish. And that is reality when it comes to racing. 100%. You guys might be noticing there's no camera here tonight, and of course that is because I do have an unfortunate I have an eye infection at the moment, so my eye is pretty swollen, and I don't really want to expose all that on the stream, because it's a bit of a mess right now, guys. I can't lie, it's a bit of a mess, and I'm walking around looking like the Elephant Man. And we don't want to get copyrighted, for plagiarizing the Elephant Man here, do we? Absolutely not. But yeah, Emilia here tonight. Let's have a look at the track in question. Of course, let me just get the track info up. 2 seconds, guys, and yeah. So yeah, the track info here tonight for Emilia. Of course, it will be a 4.9 kilometer circuit, 3 miles in length. 1 DRS zone down the start finish straight, down into from turn 19 all the way down towards turn 2, the first braking zone of the circuit. 19 corners, 10 to the left and 9 to the right. And of course, it will be 32 laps awaiting these drivers. Of course, the C5 soft tyres, C4 mediums, and C3 hard compound tyres available for the drivers, along with the intermediate and wet tyres available. And of course, with circuits such as this, obviously, you look at some of the corners around here. Obviously, Tamburello, obviously the section from turn 2, 3, and 4, Variante Tamburello, of course, Variante Villeneuve as well, the 5-6 complex. Tosa in turn 7, of course, at the hairpin. Piratella through turn 9. Aqua Minerale through 11, 12, and 13. Variante Alta in the chicane of 14 and 15, and of course Rivazza. The Rivazza section, of course, is the final 2 corners of the track through 17 and 18. Sorry, obviously turn 19 is the final actual corner of the circuit. But yeah, they are the corner names. That is the track distance, and of course, we are still in the lobby awaiting some of the drivers to get in now. I believe Lifeboat might actually be able to get in before qualifying starts, which will be fantastic for ETA because he gets more laps on the board. But to everyone in the chat right now, I'm going to bring up the stand-ins once again. I want some predictions. Because obviously, I mean, ET8 should seal up the championship tonight. I want to see some bold predictions. Will ET8 fail to seal the championship tonight? Can Neverlast Racing Development Team, can they prevent ET8 from sealing the championship right here tonight at Imola? I want to get your guys' predictions. Will they be able to stop ET8 from taking the championship here tonight? Will it go on to Vegas? Let me know in the chat. And of course, while you're doing that, let me know who you're putting your money on for second place in the standings as well. Can NLR continue their fine form over recent races and continue to extend the gap over WOR? Or will WOR and IRT close in that gap so we get a nice three-way team battle for P2 in the standings? Let me know. Let me get some predictions in the chat on that, as we have 13 of the 15 drivers in the session right now. Once again, let's go and get the lineups just so you guys can see who is scheduled to be racing here tonight. It is Jet and Italian Snow, and of course Nick for IRT, Hadio, Andreo, and of course Lifeboat for ET8, Tom, Fraser, and Soapbox for WOR, Capitan, Sonny, and B Shadow for RCR. And of course, NLR will be Spicer, Sapala, and Maki. So they are the drivers that are going to be racing here tonight. And of course, it's going to be interesting to see who will be able to master the Emilia circuit, the Autodromo. What was it now off the top of my head? Oh, now I'm putting myself on the spot. Yeah, putting myself on the spot as I actually was about to say the actual track's name, and I completely forgot it. So let's actually just bring that up. Yeah, the Autodromo Enzo Edino Ferrari. There we go. As we got there in the end. We're going to see who's going to come out on top here as we are getting ready now to go into qualifying. So we will be getting onto the track very, very soon. Once again, guys, I want to get some predictions in the chat. Will ET8 seal the championship here tonight? Can Neverlast Racing potentially keep the championship alive here tonight? Can they overturn enough points to keep it alive? Will IRT and WOR close the gap on NLR? Let me know your predictions in the chat. Right now we got Seeb in the chat saying it doesn't matter if we get second or not. The IRT boys will always be my heroes, and that is fantastic to see and fantastic to say as well. See Seeb out here supporting his team at IRT, and it is absolutely fantastic to see. But here we are in qualifying here at Imola, and ladies and gentlemen, it is absolutely throwing it down out there on track. It is intermediate conditions for the drivers out there, and yeah, now this is going to be a very, very interesting qualifying session now as we look to see who is going to be taking that top step of the pole position time. So obviously this will set you up well for the race, but you never know, it could be a completely dry race and intermediate conditions here in qualifying. I will be back in just a moment, guys. If you bear with me, I shall be right back, but I'll leave you on board with Lifeboat. In fact, we'll go actually on board with him tidy, and hopefully I'll be back to take us through a full flying lap here. So yeah, just give me 2 seconds, guys. I'll be right back. And ladies and gentlemen, after that, perfect timing to get back to the chair as we are about to get ourselves underway here on a flying lap with Lifeboat as he comes down into turn number 2, which is of course Tamburella, and of course he's going to be making his way through Tamburella absolutely fine and no issues whatsoever. Now coming up to Variante Villeneuve, turns 5 and 6. And nicely done there by Lifeboat. Now into Tosa, turn 7, where traction out of this corner is going to be crucial because you can get a good run and get alongside a car coming up towards turn number 9, Piratella. As we climb up the hill, we've got the right hand kick at turn number 8. Now into the left hand of Piratella, turn number 9. And now coming down in towards Aqua Minerale, a very off camber corner as the elevation on the circuit can really throw your car out and all over the place. Now heading into Variante Alta as he comes through now the chicane. Very well done indeed. Of course, it is intermediate conditions, so the cars are going to be sliding around all over the place as the drivers will struggle to find the grip early on. So it's all going to be about feeling out the track as we come through Rivasa 17 and 18 now. Foot to the floor, all the way now to the line. This will be where DRS will be activated, but in intermediate conditions, no DRS here And of course it is Lifeboat who comes through on a 24.9 opening lap there for the ET8 driver. As I believe we're going to have several more cars coming across the line now. As Capitan does a 25.8, Shadow with a 26.3, and we got Spicer who's done a valid 24.4, so Spicer was half a second quicker than Lifeboat there in qualifying. Fraser also invalidated. We've got Jet now coming to the line. Jet up to P6, and it looked like it was an invalidated lap as well for Jet. We've got Mackie on a flying lap. We've got Nick there getting wayward in Tulsa, and of course that is not what he wants on his first run here in qualifying. Sonny out there right now, he also invalidated on his previous run. We got Sapala now coming through with Vaza. And let's see what Sapala can do. Through turns 18 of Ravazza he goes. Now onto the start finish straight to the line, and it's going to be a... I'm pretty sure I didn't see an invalidation there from Sapala. I'm surprised. But yeah, Lifeboat improves. That's a 23.8. On my screen, I didn't come up with an invalidation, I'm pretty sure. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, we got Jet now on a run here in Alta, coming down in towards Ravazza now, coming to the end of his lap. He is still using a bit of ELS as Nick crosses the line, gets a 34.6. Sonny goes up in the P2 there with a 24.8. Obviously Mackie there getting in the mix as well, 25.1. Hario with a 25.3, and Jet goes there with a 24.7. So 9 times separating Lifeboat and Jet. As it currently stands, Thomas crossing the line, 24.6. So we wait to see what potentially can be done from Fraser's. I believe that was Italian Snow potentially with a lap time, and yeah, I mean, unfortunately for Italian Snow, it wasn't up there, but Fraser's lap was up there, and he's up in the P3. Sapala now to the line. What's Sapala going to do? And it's provisional pole, a 23.3 from the Leavenworth Racing driver, and Hario improves and gets ahead of Lifeboat. Of course, Sapala, Mackie, and Spicer will all need to be up there in terms of a lap time to make sure that they give themselves the best chance of potentially keeping the championship alive. But it is going to be monumentally difficult for them to do that. Of course, essentially a 147 point gap as it currently stands, and it's 157 points available, and they need to bring that gap down by, what was it, 67 points to keep the championship alive. It is doable, but it is going to be an absolute strain. But here comes Spicer now to the line, and he goes on provisional pole with a 23.1. So Spicer getting himself up there in the mix as well, as we've got the 3 RCR drivers. Obviously, Linus Sterling 10th, 11th and 12th there. Jet to the line, and he's getting himself going for another run. Of course, in the intermediate conditions, it's all about building the confidence, building your lap time, getting more use, more climatized to the circuit in the intermediate conditions. And of course, if it does begin to dry out later in the qualifying session, the track will get quicker and quicker. That is for sure. So let's go and let's have a look and see what everyone is saying in the chat. Absolutely nothing has been said thus far, nothing new. Obviously we got amazing in the chat, you know, saluting the Academy tier, which is of course absolutely fantastic. Academy has been, honestly, Academy tier this season has absolutely been fantastic, spectacle to watch. Even though the championship may be wrapped up here tonight, I would say it's a dominant championship performance from 88. Doesn't take away from the fantastic racing that we have seen this season, as my microphone is for some reason trying to fall off its stand. 2 seconds. So yeah, not great from the microphone here. I might have to go and tighten this thing up a sec. So, yeah, Jet goes up into P3 there with a 23.2. I am just going to mute my microphone 2 seconds so you don't get the audio of me messing around with it, trying to what's called tighten up the grip on it to stop it from moving around. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, that should be all good now, as we have around about 8 minutes to go remaining in the session. It is, of course, Sapala on provisional pole right now with a 22.4. Spicer currently on the front row along with Sapala on a 23.1. And then, of course, we've got Fraser currently in P3, 23.2. Same as Jet, 23.2 on the second row for IRT. Thomas on the third row with a 0.8 along with Hario, who's on an outlap right now. So we'll see what Hario can do on this lap. Lifeboat also on a 0.8 in 7th place, and of course a 0.9 for Soapbox in P8. And then of course we've got the first little drivers inside the 24s as Nick has gone around in Rivasa, which is obviously not ideal for the IRT driver. It's not going to build any confidence, is that a big he'll come straight into the pits, and smartly there from Nick. Sapala, sorry, not Sapala, Maki in P10 with a 24.2. Then we got a bit of a gap back then, 6 tenths to Capitan in P11 with a 24.8. 24.8 for Sonny as well on that lap. Shadow coming through to get his lap underway. Coming on 26.3, and of course we've got Italian Snow out there on a lap right now, 4 seconds up on his first lap, which of course is good improvements, but he needs a lot more if he wants to get anywhere up the order in this field. As he comes through, Aqua Minerale runs a bit deep on the exit, and that is not ideal. He somehow does keep it valid though. So let's see what the middle sector split is. 6 seconds up, which does put him close to Shadow's lap time, but he needs another 3 seconds at least to be competitive in this field as it currently stands. There's Italian Snow coming through with Vaza now, turn 17 and 18, and little tentative, a little bit out of place as he struggles to find the grip. But to the line will come Italian Snow, and it's going to be a 25.0 there, so he gets himself ahead of B Shadow. B Shadow is on a lap right now, but we're going to go on board with Hario, who's 6 tenths up in the middle sector, coming through Variante Alta there, and of course now into Rivasa. It's Hario now through turn 17 and 18. Rivasa all about the traction now on the exit. To the line will come Hario. It's going to be an improvement, but by how much? He goes up to P2 with a 22.6. Almost 3, or just under 3 tenths behind Sepala's lap time of a 22.4, but he is on the front row. Of course, ET8 looking to seal the championship here tonight. It was unfortunate for them last time out. They just missed out on taking the championship last week for round number 7 at Brazil, but this week it is looking likely that it will go the way of ET8. The only team that can stop them mathematically is NLR, and of course they essentially need a complete NLR podium, and hope that they outscore ET8 by 67 points, which is a big ask. But on board with Maki, who's about to get his lap underway. He is on an outlap, and he is all the way down in P11 for Neverlast Racing. So we're going to stay on board with Maki So he's going to get us underway here. Sonny did get a good lap time on the board. He's up into P3 with a 23.1. Gets himself ahead of Spicer. But we're going to stay on board with Mackie as Mackie is going to come down into Tamburella. Breaking down 4th gear, making sure he gets the car turned in. Nice use of the curves to get the car rotated around the corners. There for Mackie. Now in towards Villeneuve as it comes through now. Fantastic stuff there from Mackie into Tulsa. Turn number 7. Running a little bit deep, not getting the rotation that you would have wanted, but decent traction on the exit in the intermediate conditions. Sometimes you get away with that in intermediates. As we climb up the hill now towards Piratella, turn number 9. The left-hander Lifeboat has left the session, which is unfortunate there as we go through Aqua Minerale with Mackie. Now, good exit from there, a little bit of a wiggle there, just getting a little bit caught onto the curb. And 7 times improvement is the improvement so far from Mackie through Variante Alta. And it looks like good traction on the exit of Alta there for Mackie. Mackie improving by a decent amount, but can he get himself up there with his NLR teammates, of course, of Sipala and Spicer? Can he break into the top 4? As we come through Rivazza now, all the way to the line, what is Mackie going to do? Up into P3, a 23 flat there for Mackie. Fantastic lap time from him. We got Sonny who's on the invalid run. He was a 10th up, and there we just see Spicer drifting wide through Variante, through Aqua Minerale. As yeah, Spicer getting a little bit out of shape there. Looks like Fraser's on a cool down lap. Thomas is obviously coming through Tulsa, so we'll come back on board with him a little bit later. Piratella, obviously we've got Soapbox now coming through. We look to find someone at the end of the lap. We've got Capitan coming to Rivazza now. And of course he does have an Aston Martin in behind. He has kept it valid. They very borderline with the track limits. It was Capitan for RCR Academy. As he'll cross the line, goes up in terms of lap time, but not in terms of position. Sapala improves on his lap time, goes on to a 22.1, so improves by around about 0.3 of a second. And Spicer is about to go for another run. But we'll come back on board with him in just a moment. Lifeboat has managed to get himself back in the lobby. Fantastic there. Soapbox did back out this lap, so he's going again. We got B Shadow for RCR as he is coming through now. 4 temps up as we enter Alta, and that's an invalidation there for B Shadow. Just getting a little bit of a snap there under braking coming into Variante Alta. As we've got Italian the Snow again out of shape. Support in the chat for Soapbox from Unique J. And of course Soapbox right now he's having a good, decent qualifying, but that he's just struggling with the invalidations here. Halio though, we just jumped on board with him, coming through Alta, almost completely wiping his car out into the wall on the exit, and he is going to go for another run. So it doesn't look like he got any damage, as Lifeboat is going to retire in the pit lane, so he doesn't want to get any more lap time on the board. In terms of the session, we have less than a minute to go in the session, around about 35 seconds remaining in qualifying. Sonny's in the pits, his session's over and done with, but we're on board with Halio. What can Halio do? Spicer goes up into P2 there with a 22.5. This needs to be a big lap. Halio gets the back end out, coming through Villeneuve, and honestly I think that could be potentially his lap over and done with. But Spicer there, a almost 6/10 improvement, gets himself up and see, oh my god, Spicer's gone around and he's absolutely out of it there. We got Fraser on a lap as well. We got Mackie coming to the line. Mackie is going to peel off into the pit, sorry, as he has invalidated his lap. Checker flag has fallen as Jet is invalidated. We got Thomas on a run as well. We got a Williams of Nick coming to the line. 9/10 improvement in the middle sector. Gets himself into P6. The IRT Academy driver is up the order. Halio, a 10.5 up. This could get him onto the front row for ET8. Can he do it through Rivazza one more time here in qualifying? And I think he's run out of fuel. I think he's run out of fuel as Jet will cross the line, and it's not an improvement in position, but heartbreak there for Hario. I think he ran out of fuel right at the end as Fraser has invalidated his run. I believe we got Italian Snow going deep through with Vaza, B Shadow onto the gravel there, Capitan onto the gravel. What about Soapbox? Soapbox now coming through with Vaza. One more time in qualifying. I think Soapbox will be the last man to set a competitive lap, so I think everyone else on it in lap now. Capitan retires from the session, Soapbox to the line, and it's going to be up to P4 for WOR Soapbox, and there's a fantastic last lap effort there from the WOR Academy driver. Spider, of course, coming into the pits now, and that is qualifying over and done with. It is a 1-2 front row lockout for Never Last Racing Development. It is P6 for their third driver. Of course, it is ET8 Hario in P3, and then of course the two other drivers for ET8, of course, is well, it's Lifeboat. But I have just noticed that it doesn't look like the third driver for ET8 is here, so already advantage to Never Last Racing. Well, there we go. Let's take you through the order one more time. It is, of course, Never Last Racing with a front row knockout with Sapala taking pole position with a 22.1 ahead of his teammate Spicer in P2. Hario for ET8 comes through in P3 with WOR Soapbox in P4 and his teammate WOR Fraser in P5. Never Last Racing Maki in P6 with IRT's Nick in 7th place. RCR's Academy Sonny in P8. Then of course we've got WOR's Thomas in P9. Then of course round out top 10 we have IRT's Jet in P10. In 11th we have Lifeboat, and then of course we have the RCR pairing of Capitan and B Shadow in 12th and 13th there, and of course IRT's third and final driver going to be completing the grid is of course Italian Snow. But ladies and gentlemen, big news. I have only just noticed, that ET8 are down a driver, which could affect things in terms of the championship possibly being sealed here tonight. I mean, effectively, it does put a little bit of an advantage in NLR's favour to keep it alive, but it all depends on what kind of finish they can get here tonight. As we got APSR Mark in the chat saying nice Soapy. So obviously supporting Soapbox here tonight. And of course it was a fantastic last lap there from Soapbox to get himself up the order quite considerably and get himself up into P4. Of course, it is Andrea, who is not here tonight. Of course, he is the second man in the Mercedes. Unfortunately for him, not here tonight. So that does put a little bit of pressure on ET8. And it does allow that opportunity for Never Last Racing to potentially keep the championship alive until next week. It gives them an opportunity, but whether it will come to fruition or not remains to be seen. Let's have a quick look at the standings, just so you guys can get the information there. So, of course, there is 157 points available, but we're going to go back to the action on track right now because there's the 5 red lights. Lights out, and we are underway here in Emilia, and of course it's a very good start there from Sapala. Hario getting himself straight up into P2, looking to challenge for the race lead down in towards Tamburella on lap 1. Hario down the inside, no, he's unable to make it work there, as WOR having a good start, as well as it looks like Maki having a horrible start. Oh my god, that's Lifeboat in the wall. Lifeboat out of the session. My god, ladies and gentlemen, Lifeboat out of the session. And Oh my god, ladies and gentlemen, ET8 have only one driver remaining in this session now. And the favour is entirely now in the hands of NLR in order to keep this championship alive for another week. Absolutely incredible scenes. WR getting a very good start as well. Obviously Thomas going up a couple of positions, getting himself up into P6. Mackie going all the way down to P13, and interestingly, almost every single driver has gone for a set of the hard compound tyres, including Lifeboat there for ET8 was also on the hard tyres before crashing out of this race. And the only two that have opted for the yellow walled medium tyres is IRT's Italian Snow, who has made a good start as well up into P10, and of course NLR Mackie, who is down into P13. But yeah, absolutely is going to be a very tricky race now to kind of predict. ET8 one driver, one sole driver in this race. I mean, realistically, there is a possibility that he could, on his own, score enough points to keep the championship going to ET8 here today. So that's the thing. We'll have to keep you updated on that as we go through the race, and of course let you know what happens in terms of the points and everything. I believe as it currently stands in terms of the points, right now it's a P1 and P3 for Neverlast Racing, and of course a P13 right now for Mackie, which is of course 7 points for Mackie. So that'd be 57 points gained for NLR, and of course 25 for ETA, which is currently not enough for NLR to keep the championship here alive. So we'll have to keep you updated on that. I believe Mackie has to get himself quite considerably up the order as soon as possible if he wants to have any hope in this. As it looks like Spicer was closing in on Hario a little bit, but not close enough to a move. What about Sonny? Sonny trying to get close to the back of Thomas, but Mackie did get through and got himself ahead of Shadow, so that's an extra point gained for him. Lifeboat has left the session. Unfortunate for the ETA Academy driver, was looking fantastic. Like for the entire season, Lifeboat was doing fantastically. So I think he's kind of allowed this this one race where it hasn't gone his way. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that in Stewart's office. If there was contact there which led to Lifeboat's retirement in this race, we'll have to wait and see. Let's get the telemetry and the deltas up here in this race. Lap 3 of 32. Zapala has broken away from Hario, and now Hario under a bit of pressure from Spicer in behind, and this is going to be absolutely telling if Hario does have DRS. If he doesn't, he could be a sitting duck, and he hasn't. It doesn't look like Hario's done enough to get himself DRS, and here comes Spicer. Spicer with DRS, with the ERS, gonna pull around the outside of Tamborella. Job done there for Spicer as he goes up into P2. The Neverlast Racing driver trying to come through, but look at this now. Hario coming back down the inside, getting squeezed all the way to the inside to enter Villeneuve, and he has to back out there. Hario has to make room, and he has to back out of that move. That could have ended in disaster if Hario decided to keep his nose in there. So very smart positioning from Spicer and responsible driving from Hario, knowing that the championship can be wrapped up here tonight as long as he gets a respectable finish here. And that might just help him out even more. Mackie with a 3-second time penalty, followed immediately by B Shadow. Mackie is trying to get himself back into this race, coming in P11, so that's 9 points gained for him. And of course, with the way things are going right now, I mean, again, I'm just going to say it's still not enough for Neverlast Racing. Effectively, I mean, right now, it's looking like a long night for Neverlast Racing. I believe, as it currently stands, they are outscoring ET8 by as Tanya Snow gets through on IRT's Nick there in towards Tamburella. They are outscoring by 35 plus 9 is 44 points is what they're outscoring ET8 by as it currently stands, and they need to outscore ET8 by 67. No, there we go. Or 66 actually. No, 67 to keep it alive. So we'll see what the race win. I mean, it's going to be intriguing. Obviously, with there only being one ET8 driver, he's not going to have any issues in terms of the strategy with his team. Obviously, won't get held up in the pits, won't have to give up anything in terms of the pit lane strategy. But right now, being the lone ETA driver might not work out too well for him, and this might work out well for him. The fact that Spicer does not have DRS on his teammate up ahead. So Sabala has built that gap and he's continuing to pull away. That flash at the rear end of Spicer will be a good indication there for Hario to go on the attack. As it looks like Maki and Capitan battling out, the same with Nick and Jet up ahead. As all three IRT drivers, Linus Stern in 8th, 9th and 10th. Maki going off into the gravel. And I don't think Maki's comfortable with his setup choice here tonight. On lap 6 of 32, Sapala leads the way, Spicer in 2nd place, Hario in P3. Right now the team championship is going to be going the way of ET8 in this session, and the championship will be sealed by them here tonight. ET8 Academy looking to take the championship here in round number 9. Right now, mathematically, they are doing it, so yeah, definitely going to be good for ET8 just to get this sealed here tonight, so they can go into Vegas without the pressure of needing to win the championship. But here comes Hario with DRS, going to breeze past Spicer in towards Tamburella. Fantastic stuff there from Hario. Gets himself back up into P2. And it's a good result there as Maki also getting back through on Capitan, but runs deep into Tamburella, and that is going to allow Capitan to come back through and retake P11 off of the Neverlast Racing brother. As the three IRT drivers still Linus Stern in 8th, 9th and 10th. They're trying to get their way up the order. We've got Sonny for RCR Academy in a bit of a no man's land right now. 2.3 off the back of the car ahead and around about 2 seconds ahead of the IRT drivers in behind. But we're going to have to wait and see what happens here. We're going to get team orders here from IRT as Italian Snow. I think that was a bit of hesitation between the pair of them there. I think Jet didn't want to overtake, and Italian Snow knew he wasn't quicker than Jet, so he wanted to let him go. A little bit of breakdown in communication there for the IRT Academy drivers. As now Spicer back through on Hario, and we stay looking behind because Soapbox there with Fraser and Thomas are in this train. So all three WOR drivers are in this train, and Hario with a 3-second time penalty. That is big. That is big. That 3-second time penalty could be huge coming in the race. If it stays this close, it could be huge. Hario though, looks like he is starting to fall slightly back from Spicer, but he's still close enough in the DRS range, so he shouldn't be losing out on DRS anytime soon. Lap 8 of 32, Sapana leads the way, Spicer in 2nd place, Hario in P3, and ET8 currently taking home the championship here in the Esports Masters League Academy tier. Soapbox now in P4, closing up obviously with DRS, not only Soapbox but Fraser and Thomas are more than happy to sit in this trim right now, knowing that Hario has that 3-second time penalty. It is definitely going to be interesting. But here comes Soapbox, getting a good run out of Tamburella, but not good enough to go for a move in towards Villeneuve. Now into Tulsa, and it is going to remain as it currently stands. Lap 9 of 32. Looks like Jet has, once he's got through, he's managed to bolt away. Looks like Italian Snow is losing out handle with this on those medium tyres right now. We've got Mackie, who's already coming into the pits upon the set of the hard compound tyres. So Mackie has made a pit stop. Here is the penalty situation. Of course, 3 seconds for Hario, for Capitan, for B Shadow, and for Mackie in this race. One stop has been made, and that is of course by Mackie. Passes up currently with Sepala. As Hario was closing in with DRS and ERSN, and almost went for it down the inside in towards Tamburella, but deciding to back out of it. Probably the safer option there for Hario, when next lap he might be close enough to just get that done outright before the break-in of Tamburella. So yeah, Hario playing a tactical game, knowing that he might not win this race, he might not get a podium, but as long as he gets good points, he's going to win the championship for ETA. And then he'll have the bragging rights that he won it on his own. But out of Aqua Minerale, Spicer does not get the best of exit. Now allows Hario to have a little peek down the inside, but he does think better of it coming through Alder. Ladies and gentlemen, Sepala leads the way by 2.2 seconds. Then we got a 5-car train of Spicer, Hario, Soapbox, Fraser and Thomas in behind. But now it could be Hario taking P2. Once again from Spicer up into P2 goes the ETA Academy driver, and he retakes P2 from the Neverlast Racing driver, and it is as it was once again. But with that 3-second time penalty, Hario right now is currently looking at finishing in P6. And just to give some ideas, as long as Spicer remains P2 in this train, he will be picking up 25 points for Neverlast Race. And obviously Sepala picking up 30 points right now, leading the way. Hario, with that 3-second time penalty, would be picking up 14 points. So, in terms of how many, what the points gain would be for that, then obviously you got 55 plus 13 right now, sorry, plus 7, so that'd be 55, 63 points gained in total by Neverlast Racing. Of course, it would be 14 points gained by Hario. So, I mean, as long as they can somehow try and get the strategy working out for Mackie to climb himself up the order, to maybe get in and amongst it with the likes of the Jet and potentially Sonny, as Hario gets a big snap through Tamburella, and that allows Spicer to just cruise on through. Soapbox in behind, not really wanting to risk it, but he definitely could have got a move done if he wanted. And there's another snap there from Hario. Soapbox down the inside in towards Tulsa. They are side by side now, Soapbox and Hario, and it looks like Hario's going to maintain P3, but my god, Hario now starting to get a little bit out of shape in this race, which is not ideal if you are an ET8 fan here tonight. It's not ideal at all, as it looks like B Shadow has gone around. Safety car here on lap number 12. A full course safety car here, lap 12 of 32. Sepala leads the way ahead of his teammate Spicer in P2. Halio getting all out of shape there in P3, just about holding on to P3 from Soapbox to WR in P4. Fraser currently in P5 with Thomas in P6. Sonny right now in P7 for RCR Academy. Then of course we have the three IRT Academy drivers of Nick, Jet and Italian Snow in 8th, 9th and 10th respectively. And then of course we have the pairing of the RCR Academy drivers in Capitan and B Shadow in 11th and 12th. And of course Neverlast Racing's Mackie going to be coming through in P13. And of course everyone taking advantage of the pit stop phase, as it actually looks like Thomas double stacking with Fraser. Has actually lost him that spot to Sonny, but fortunately for him, he just about comes out ahead of IRT's Nick. So, I mean, he only lost the one spot by double stacking, but he has made sure that he comes out ahead of the IRT trio. As everyone is in the pits, including NLR Mackie there at the back. We're in the safety car conditions here at lap 13 of 32. Let me know now in the chat. Predictions. We got Maze saying game over in the chat. I want to know predictions right now in the chat. Obviously, Halio has that 3-second time penalty. If Thomas gets swiftly through on Sonny as quickly as he would want to on this restart, and again Sepala just bolts off in the distance as he did on the first stint, if that train stays as close as it is, the top 6 train that we had before the safety car, if it stays that close, and then you got Mackie who's now on the back of everyone and potentially a bit more confident around this circuit now after putting 13 laps of racing around here, plus laps in qualifying, we could be looking at a situation where the championship could be kept alive here. Because right now that 3 seconds will put Hario well down the order, but we expect Hario to be able to build a gap from the trio of IRT drivers in 8th, 9th and 10th. We expect the gap to continue to grow on Sonny, who's currently in 6th place. Of course, the double stack from Thomas and Fraser has meant that Thomas is behind Sonny. Let's have a look at the penalty situation. And it's a 5-second time penalty for the RCR Academy driver. And on lap 14 of 32, potentially, we could be seeing another pit stop late in this race. As everyone bunches up here and safety car, Sepala leads the way. Can Hario seal the championship for ETA Academy on his own? Right now, Neverlast Racing is outscoring ETA on track. Now this is just on track, not including penalties or anything. On track, they are outscoring ETA by 43 points, which currently is not enough to keep the championship alive. Safety car is going to be in this lap. Sepala will back up the pack and we'll get ready to go racing once again. Spicer will obviously have the information, obviously potentially being in the party with Sepala, of knowing exactly when his teammate is going to go, and they'll work together to catch Hario napping. Hario is a lone ET8 driver in this race, and it looks like now they've gone out of Rivasa. They have both gone and bolted into the distance, as now Thomas trying to get himself through on Sonny. Well, it looks like Sonny's actually going to go on the attack on Fraser. as Sonny going to look around the outside of Tamburella. No! Almost going into the back of Soapbox, and that has of course unsettled him through Tamburella, and it's allowed Thomas to get through as quickly as he would have wanted. And now through Villeneuve, Nick and Sonny side by side, contact made between the pair of them, but fortunately no one gets tagged around it as we go through Tosa, and it is Sonny who holds on to P7 ahead of IRT's Nick in this race. But that was ideal for Thomas to get himself ahead of Sonny almost immediately in on the restart there. And Sonny with a 3-second time penalty on top of his 5-second time penalty. It's going to be a long day for Sonny, for RCR. That is unfortunate for him. Right now, Nick is trying his best to stay on the back of Sonny. Sonny right now is putting everything he can to stay in this train. But right now, just look at the ERS difference between the top 6 and Sonny here. Well, looks like Thomas is using a bit to try and close up to his teammates up ahead. WOR Academy currently in 4th, 5th and 6th. Good haul of points for WOR. And in terms of, I'm just going to put it right now, obviously in terms of the battle for second in the championship, obviously that's something else that we will keep an eye on as well. 4th, 5th and 6th would be 36, 46 points for WOR that's gained at the moment. And yeah, I mean, Neverlast Racing is still outscoring them, but it's one of them ones, and it really is one of them ones. So yeah, NLR right now, they are still outscoring WOR in terms of the battle for second place. In terms of the championship, just trying to see how that would what's called stack up for the end of this race. Obviously, the gap between WR and NLR is, of course, 21 points. So I think definitely you'll be seeing a battle between these two teams for minimum second place in the championship next week. Is for sure. It's all about who's going to be jostling for position to have the advantage for that race. Right now in this race, it is ET8 to have the advantage. They haven't got it wrapped up yet. In terms of completely having the championship wrapped up, there is still potential that ETA could lose out here. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Aki has tried to make himself, get himself up the order. He's currently in P12 on the back of Capitan. B Shadow with a 3-second time penalty. He's not going to help him. Obviously 12 seconds off the back of the pack. He's had a mistake somewhere, and yeah, they're falling away. Italian Snow on a set of hard tyres definitely could go to the end of the race from here. His tyres will be a bit shot, but he definitely will go to the end of the race absolutely fine. Sapala has bolted clear of Spicer once again, and Spicer is going to be absolutely a sitting duck here, because there goes Hario. And Soapbox, if Soapbox wanted to use this battery there, he potentially could have challenged for P3 in this race. Of course, it would have been a net P2 with a 3-second up ahead, but I think Soapbox knows right now, just let Hario and Spicer use their ERS a bit, let them fight, let them pick up penalties, and then I'll come back late in the race. I think that is what Soapbox is planning right here. Right now though, Sapala 1.5 seconds in the lead. And Halio with a 6-second time penalty now. And that could be a game changer in this race. It really could. Thomas with a 3-second time penalty as well. So Thomas picking up a 3-second. And he's at the back of this WR train in 4th, 5th and 6th. So I mean, right now, obviously, he will stay ahead of Sonny, but he will fall behind the likes of Nick, Jet, and Italian Snow here. Italian Snow not within DRS though, so he's going to fall even further away. Halio does pick up the fastest lap of the race, so he tries to take that bonus point away from Neverlast Racing, and he has done so quite spectacularly, as Nick needs to get himself back within 1 second of Sonny up the road. Jet is doing well to hold on to Nick in this race. Italian Snow, there we go, we've seen it, he was just outside of DRS when the detection point happened, but now he's near enough 2 seconds behind. We have a DRS train that goes down from P2 all the way to P9 in this race. We have Halio with a 6-second time penalty. We have Thomas with a 3-second time penalty. We have Sonny with a 8-second time penalty, including a 5-second stop-go penalty, which may get served later on in this race. But what we are seeing is, if everything stays as close as it is, we could be looking at Halio dropping all the way down to P7 in this race. But it all depends on if these guys can maintain DRS in each other. And it looks like Sonny has lost DRS on the top 6, which is ideal for Halio. He'll be absolutely jumping with joy over the news that Sonny now loses out on DRS and will continue to fall back, as Mackie on the back of Capitan needs to get onto the back of Snow as soon as possible. Obviously Capitan does, as Snow getting a little bit out of shape on those hard tyres, going a little bit deep on through Villeneuve there. Mackie though needs to get himself up the order, because he has to score decent points here for NOR to keep the championship alive, and obviously to give them a much healthier position going into next week, the season finale in Las Vegas, where of course the battle for second will be the main battle to keep an eye on. Lap 20 of 32, it is Sipala holding the race lead for Neverlast Racing. Halio for ET8 currently in P2, Spicer for Neverlast Racing in P3. Then we have the trio of WOR Academy drivers in Soapbox, Fraser and Thomas. Then we have Sonny for RCR Academy in P7. Then we have the IRT Academy trio of Nick, Jet and Italian Snow in 8th, 9th and 10th. Then we have RCR Academy's Capitan all over the back of Italian Snow here for the final position inside the top 10. And it looks like Capitan's going to look down the inside in towards Villeneuve. We're on board with Mackie now, because Mackie could benefit from this. Oh, big snap there from Capitan, but Mackie has a little peek down the inside in towards Tulsa and doesn't make that move. So Mackie decided to back out that move, realising that it would end in an instant there. Full Piratella now. Italian Snow under pressure here. Capitan is placing his car in some awkward positions for the IRT driver, and that is hindering the pair of them in terms of potentially taking advantage of any penalties up ahead later on in this race, as Sonny goes off track. And now we go on to lap 22 of 32 as Halio leads this DRS train. Spicer not pushing. Soapbox has used a little bit, but he's not committing fully, as I believe he wants to wait until as late as possible before he commits. Capitan getting through on Italian Snow with DRS, and Mackie is holding off, just sitting back there, waiting for his opportunity. 9-lap-old medium tyre Shadow, of course, came into the pit lane for a fresh set of that is incorrect. He hadn't crossed the line yet, so I didn't update. My bad, I thought you already crossed the line to update it. But now Mackie on the back of Italian Snow, looking for a way to get through and get ahead of the IRT driver. Of course, Italian Snow doesn't have a penalty, so he's quite happy where he is right now, because he will jump back ahead of both of these drivers come the end of the race if it stays the way it is. As we go through Acqua Minerale, Capitan getting all out of shape there as Maki unable to get the run on Italian Snow that he would have liked there. Of course, Italian Snow getting out of shape as well. Obviously in reaction, I think, to Capitan getting out of shape. Meanwhile, the battle for P7 still heating up. Nick still close onto the back of Sonny. Same with Jet as well. As Sonny doing everything he can to try and close up on Thomas. Thomas outside the DRS range now, so he has fallen away from the top 5. As Maki has actually overtaken both Italian Snow and Capitan. As contact between Italian Snow and Maki through Tamburella. Capitan does get through back up ahead of Italian Snow. And what we need to see now is Maki try to break away from these two and try and close in on the guys up ahead. It is the only way NLR could potentially keep the championship alive. It really is. It's the only way. But right now, with Thomas outside the DRS range, he is just going to continue to fall away as they go down the start-finish straight. And that will enable Hario of keeping P5. So right now, Hario, I believe, will finish this race. I mean, right now I think he's in P5 regardless in terms of the penalty situation. But yeah, it's one of them ones where it's going to be all about how big that gap is between Thomas and Hario by the end of this race, and whether or not we get another safety car. If we do get another safety car in this race, it will bunch everyone back up, and then Hario and ETA could potentially be in a spot of bother. But Sipala doing an absolutely fantastic job out in the race lead. Lap 24 of 32. Maki on a 5-second time penalty there for corner cut and gaining a position. And that right there, I think, is probably Maki going to be completely down and out here in terms of race finishing. Italian Snow picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. Jet and Nick doing everything they can to stay on the back of Sonny in this race. Sonny has managed to catch up to Thomas. So I think Sonny might have just done enough to get himself DRS. Let's wait and see as we go ahead to start the next lap, lap 25 of 32. And in fact, Sonny did not do enough. Jet does get through on Nick with DRS. He's going to have the open. He's going to run down in towards turn number turn number 2 at Tamburella, and of course he will get himself up into P8, and with the DRS he closes up to potentially pick up DRS on Sonny and Thomas. And in fact, Jet might be able to jump Hario on the penalties here as well. So that's something to keep an eye on. Also, that Jet potentially could jump himself ahead of the ETA driver, so he could still finish 6th. Good Hario in this race. Spicer, 3-second time penalty. That is huge. That's huge. That could mean a double WOR podium now, as long as Soapbox and Fraser don't make any mistakes and they keep their calm, they keep their cool. They don't pick up any needless tractor validations. This could be both WR drivers on a podium, and with Thomas obviously quite considerably ahead of Maki in this race. That could close up the battle for P2 in the standings quite drastically as well. So we have to keep an eye on that. Also, I believe Hario should be fine in terms of seeing this out for ETA Academy. The only thing that could go against Hario is if a safety car comes out. That's it, and obviously if a mistake or an incident happens, but we know that these drivers, they rarely make the mistakes that see them out of the race. It's usually someone losing their head, but it looks like both Spicer, Hario and even Soapbox in behind, all these guys are essentially driving with a cool, calm head here in today's race, which is fantastic because we've had one safety car in this race. We had a virtual safety car as well when Lifeboat retired from the session. One full course safety car when I believe it was B Shadow losing it on the exit at Tamburella. And of course I brought out the safety car, and of course B Shadow into the pit, retires from the session. Of course RCR considerably off the back of everyone else joining the season quite late in the championship, as here comes Spicer. Lap 27 and 32, Spicer retakes P2 ahead of Hadio. As Soapbox now is effectively net P2 in this race, and Fraser net P3. Now let's see what the point swing would be if it was to go like that with WR and Never Last Racing. Let's have a look here. So I mean, right now I do believe that Hario still falls behind Jet. At this moment in time, I believe he does still fall behind Jet. Only just though. As Hario picks up another 3-second time penalty. Ladies and gentlemen, 9-second time penalty for Hario in this race. That might actually save the likes of Thomas in this race. So Thomas might be able to gain an extra position. Nick might be able to gain an extra position as well. Jet, as here we go now, down in towards Sambarella. Hario gets back through on Spicer, but it's going to be 3 wide. The WR, IRT and RCR Academy drivers running down in towards Sambarella. Is Jet on the inside, and Jet gets himself up into P6, but Thomas is not done there. On the exit, looks to try and get this move back on him in towards Villeneuve, and he's almost pushing the IRT Academy car through the corners there, as Thomas and Sonny there following behind, and Sonny picking up another 3-second time penalty in this race. And of course there's a whole heap of penalties for Sonny now. Capitan picking up a penalty also in behind Mackie, and Mackie in P10, but of course he's got another 8 seconds of his own. Right now, Hario definitely falls behind Jet in this race. Lap 28 of 32. Right now, it is Soapbox and Fraser who will be joining Sapala on the podium in this race. And that would be 25, yeah, it'd be 25, 25 points and 20 points. That'd be 45 points gained by just those two drivers alone. I believe with Thomas, as long as he can stay ahead of the likes of Sonny and Nick, I do think obviously he will be behind Hario, so I think Hario, drops to 6th and Thomas stays 7th. So 7th place would be 13 points, so that'd be 48, that'd be 58 points gained by WOR in this race. Never Last Racing, obviously with Spicer will drop down to P4, and of course Sapala right now currently in the race lead, so that's 30 points in. That'd be 47 points between those two, and of course you've got Mackie in 10th place picking up 10 points, so that'd be 57 points in total in this race. And of course let's go ahead and look at the fastest lap as well and see who has it. Is Hario, who does have the fastest lap of the race right there. So lap 29 about to begin, lap number 30 in this race. Sapala leads the way, Hario in 2nd place, Spicer in 3rd. And actually, saying that now, I think the gap is now enough where Hario stays ahead of Jet. Jet obviously has managed to get himself ahead of the likes of Thomas, Sonny and Nick. Actually no, sorry, yeah, it's 9 seconds. Sorry, I was thinking 6 seconds, and But yeah, in terms of the gap, obviously 7.2 seconds the gap between Hario and Jet. Needs 9 seconds to maintain P5 at the minimum for Hario. But I think right now, regardless, it's going to be the championship is going to go ETH way regardless here. So of course, the last racing aren't scoring enough to put enough pressure on ET8. So it looks like ET8, barring a late safety car or late controversy or late incident for Hario, should be fine to take the championship. The real interesting one is, of course, what happens in terms of the team championship here. So, of course, right now it's looking like a double podium for Soapbox and Fraser for WR. They gained 45 points, of course. At the same time, you have first and fourth place finish for the likes of Spicer and Sapala as it currently stands, with the penalties applied. That would mean 47 points. So right there, just between those four drivers, it's a 2-point gain for NLR. But then you look at Thomas in P7. Obviously, he's picking up 13 points, and you've got Maki currently in P10. Potentially could fall behind. Nah, he won't fall behind. Nah, he's not going to fall behind Capitan in this race. Capitan has one extra time penalty. And there we go, Capitan has another time penalty applied to him now. Well, we're about to come on to the final lap of the race. Sapala has been in a league of his own here tonight. It's been an absolutely fantastic race so far. Let's look at the penalties. I mean, there is the penalty. Spicer 3 seconds, 9 seconds for Hario. Thomas currently on 3 seconds. Sonny with 17 seconds. Nick obviously with 3 seconds. 8 seconds for Maki. 12 seconds for Capitan. And 3 seconds for Italian Snow at the back of the pack. The final lap of the race. It is looking like it is going to be ET8 taking the championship here tonight. One driver remaining as we got Sonny getting overtaken by Nick for P8. But you know what, I'm going to go on board with Sapala, because Sapala has literally been a class above the rest here today. Absolutely dominant race performance from the Neverlast Racing development driver as he comes through Variante Alta for the final time. And that's 12 seconds of time penalties for Hario. We'll have to wait and see where that places him, as Hario is Spicer still side by side. But in fact, we're going to go on board with that. As coming through the final corner there. There we go. It is going to be Spicer who takes it. But it is going to be Sapala who takes victory. Spicer will come through in P2, but will fall down the order. It looks like Hario had a bit of a moment there on the exit of Rivasa, and he will fall well down the order now, as Thomas will get P6, Jet will get P5, Nick will get P7, Hario will have to set off for P8, Maki goes up into P9, and then we'll have Capitan and Italian Snow, the final two finishers coming home in 11 and 12. And right now I need to do some equations, shall we say, in terms of the championship here, because I believe that we could be seeing a very tasty battle for P2 in the championship in the end. But it is going to be ET8 Academy who do take home the Esports Masters League Academy Tier Championship here at Emilia, and it is a massive congratulations to ET8. Over the course of the season, if you do decide to go back and watch the season to see how they did it with fantastic teamwork over the course of the season. They worked well together. They got each other out of trouble when they were in trouble. They got each other into 1-2s, and obviously able to work as a team to pull away. And of course, NLR have come back in the last couple of races and picked up some good results in the end, it was too little, too late. 88, well-deserved championship in the academy tier. Massive congratulations to the 88 boys, and of course we'll run you through the order one more time. It's of course Sapala who takes victory ahead of Soapbox in second place with Fraser in P3. It's a double WR podium here tonight in Emilia. Spicer comes through in P4 with Jet in P5 with Thomas in P6 and Nick in P7. Hario comes home in P8 with Mackie in P9. P10 will be Sonny for RCR. And of course we've got Capitan in P11 and Italian Snow with the fastest lap coming through in P12, the last of the finishers. Now two DNFs were of course B Shadow and Lifebout. And right now, let us work with what we have got here in terms of the standings. But there we go, that is the order, that is how things end here tonight. So there we go. Obviously 88 came in tonight with a 147 point lead, meaning that Neverlast Racing had to outscore 88 by, I believe it was 60 yeah, it was 67 points, I believe. They had to outscore. Actually, no, it wasn't 67. Hang on. So it was 60 points. They had to outscore them by, or 61. Was it? I don't know, guys. I don't know. Math is not my specialty. But yeah, I think it was 67 to be honest. But yeah, NLR Development was unable to do that. So Hario on his own able to take a fantastic P8 in the end. Of course, he was battling for the podium throughout the entirety of the race. Just penalties went against him in the end, but he did enough to take home the championship. But this is the battle that we are now going to look at. The battle between NLR Development and WR Academy. Of course, with a 2-3 finish for Soapbox and Fraser. And of course, a P6 for Thomas. They gain, what was that, 45 points and then 59 points gained by WOR in this race. So that is how much they gained, 59 points. And of course, for Neverlast Racing, is a P1, a P4, and a P9. So we'll get that back up. P1, P4, P9. P1, 47 for P1 and P4. And of course, a P9 would be... Oh, so WR outscore Neverlast Racing by one singular point here tonight. One singular point. And also, I believe... I think IRT mathematically are just about in it, but don't correct me. Don't come at me on that. Like, don't take that as like an absolute right there, because I'm not entirely sure myself if they are mathematically still in it or not. But let's go ahead and let's have a look at the next track in question. Of course, it will be Las Vegas for the season finale. And of course, the championship is all wrapped up now for ETA Academy. They are Academy tier champions. And of course, the battle for second will be between Neverlast Racing and of course WOR Academy. And it's going to be a very interesting one because similar to how it is tonight, it's a decent gap to overturn. But yeah, it's going to be a definite spicy one, that is for sure. And we never know what could happen in the steward's office if any reports come through in tonight's races. But yeah, that is going to bring an end to the action here tonight in the Academy tier. Please make sure you guys stay tuned on League Racing TV channel, because in around 40 minutes time, it will be F1 and F2 time, of course. Taking you through the action in F1 will of course be IRT Indigo and James Head. James Head will be the lead commentator, of course, and Indigo will be alongside him as always for F1. And of course in F2, Leslie the Twig will be taking you through the action. I believe he's got Bunnies alongside him as well, Nexus Bunnies alongside him for F2. So make sure you guys tune in to that in around 40 minutes time. But until then, guys, I have been Michael Edwards, and I'll catch you next week for the season finale here in the Esports Masters League Academy tier. at Las Vegas. But until then, guys, it is goodbye from me.